You've done everything right, the vision boards, the affirmations, the relentless effort. And still, your dreams remain just out of reach. What if the harder you try, the further they drift away? What you chase, you repel. What you become, you attract. This isn't just philosophy, it's quantum truth and it's Buddhist wisdom. Here's the paradox. Manifestation is so simple that your mind rejects it. That's why it fails for most. Because the ego craves complexity, but the universe listens only to coherence. So let me ask you, are you truly aligned or just acting like it? Because today, we'll reveal why real transformation isn't about doing more. It's about becoming less resistant, more present, and fully magnetic. If you absorb just one thing from this video, let it be this. You don't have to chase what's already meant for you. And stay until the end. There's a powerful bonus lesson that could change how you manifest forever. Number 1, stop demanding, start allowing. You've been told to work harder, want more, chase endlessly, and somehow that's how you'll manifest the life of your dreams. But here's the truth. Manifestation is simple. That's why nobody gets it. Because simplicity threatens our ego. We believe the universe responds only to struggle, but the most powerful energy doesn't come from effort, it comes from alignment. Stop demanding, start allowing. The loudest energy rarely reaches the sacred. But silence, that's where the universe begins to listen. Why do monks sit in stillness for hours? Why do they not scream their desires to the skies? Because they know the silent heart receives more than the shouting mind. A clenched fist dipped in water remains dry inside, but an open palm, it becomes a riverbed. You want to manifest abundance, peace, love, clarity. First, open, let go. In the depth of Buddhist thought, non-grasping is not weakness, it's wisdom. The more we grip life tightly, the more it slips through. The Buddha didn't promise riches, he promised freedom. And freedom begins the moment we stop trying to control every wave and instead learn to float. Take a deep breath. You didn't force it, yet it arrived. Now, what if everything else could be just as natural? You've probably been taught that desire drives destiny, but desire without awareness becomes desperation, and desperation is noise, internal shouting that blinds us from the present moment. Manifestation isn't asking louder, it's hearing clearer. What version of reality are you consistently observing within? If your internal state is lack, then what are you really radiating? Because manifestation is not just visualization, it's vibration. What you are, not what you pretend to be. Buddhism teaches that detachment is the path to power. Not because you stop caring, but because you stop clinging. Wanting a result without needing it, that's true freedom. Wanting love without begging for it. Wanting success without collapsing when it's delayed. Wanting clarity, but walking peacefully through the fog. The paradox is this: the less you force, the more flows to you. Because the universe does not reward noise, it responds to resonance. So pause and reflect. What are you forcing right now that actually wants to unfold on its own? What version of yourself are you trying to manifest through control instead of becoming through surrender? Ask yourself, are you embodying your desires or just performing them? Because the universe isn't fooled by words, it responds to being. Manifestation is less about what you ask for and more about what you are allowing space for. Detachment is not giving up, it's giving over. Giving over your need to control, to time everything, to micromanage your path. Let go of the noise, become the silence. Allow the river to carry you. The future you seek may not be something you build with effort. It may be something you receive when you stop interrupting the process. And remember this: a disciplined mind, guided by calm thoughts, is the true secret to effortless manifestation. Not because you have more power, but because you finally stopped blocking the power that was always within you. 2. Want nothing, receive everything. You've been told that the more you want something, the more likely you are to get it. But in truth, the more you need, the further it runs. You chase, you grasp, you cling, until the very thing you desire becomes your suffering. Buddhism teaches a strange but powerful truth. Want nothing, receive everything. It seems backwards, doesn't it? But here's the secret. The one who lets go of needing becomes the magnet of all. It is not detachment from life, but detachment from the illusion that fulfillment comes from control. True manifestation is not about needing more, it's about needing less. That's why so few understand it. We think the universe responds to craving, but craving clouds clarity. Only the open hand can receive. There's a story of a tree in the middle of a storm. The strong trees, the ones that stood rigid in pride, broke. But the one that bent, the one that surrendered, survived. That's you. That's your desire. You think you must hold it tightly or it will disappear. But maybe your neediness is the storm that keeps destroying your path. Maybe letting go is not giving up, it's growing up. When we release the outcome, the energy shifts. When we stop broadcasting lack, we start radiating trust. And trust is magnetic. The universe recognizes peace far more than panic. Think about the last time you truly let go. Maybe it was when you stopped texting that person and suddenly they reached out. Or when you stopped obsessing over money and unexpectedly got an opportunity. Coincidence or cosmic rhythm? The ego wants control, but the soul wants alignment. Can you want something deeply without needing it to complete you? That is the middle path. That is manifestation through detachment. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine your deepest desire: success, love, healing, peace. Now visualize it as a balloon in your hand, and now release it. Let it float into the sky. Let the universe hold it. Trust that if it's meant for you, it knows the way back. This isn't about denial, it's about freedom. The root of suffering is attachment, not to the desire itself, but to the belief that you are incomplete without it. Buddhism doesn't ask you to live without dreams. It asks you to live without desperation. The Buddha walked away from a kingdom not to escape riches, but to master richness within. He taught that happiness is not found in getting what we want, but in wanting what we already have. So what are you clinging to right now? What if loosening your grip is the most powerful act of manifestation? You don't need to force the flower to bloom. You just need to remove what's blocking the sun. That's what letting go does. It doesn't remove your desire. It removes the fear that it won't happen. That's when life begins to respond. That's when synchronicities appear, not because you begged for them, but because you became aligned with them. Peace is the signal, needing nothing is the message, and abundance is always listening. 3. Thoughts are not instructions, they're echoes. You wake up thinking about the same problems. You rehearse the same fears, the same doubts, the same limits, and yet you wonder why nothing changes. The truth is unsettling. Your thoughts are not instructions, they're echoes. Echoes of old beliefs, childhood conditioning, societal programming. What you assume is creativity might actually be memory. What you think is a creation is often just a reflection. Just like a mirror doesn't create your face, it only shows what's already present. Your thoughts often reflect past identity, not future potential. So here's the question. Are your thoughts creating your future or just repeating your past? In Buddhist philosophy, the mind is seen as a tool, not a master. A clouded tool repeats what it knows. That's why monks spend years in silence, observing thoughts without reacting to them. They know that every thought is not truth. Some are habits, some are fears disguised as logic, some are echoes from an earlier version of you that no longer serves who you're becoming. If you never question the voice in your head, you'll mistake noise for guidance. If you tune into an old radio frequency, you'll hear outdated music. But manifestation demands you change the station, not just listen louder. Close your eyes. Watch one thought come into your awareness. Now, instead of believing it, observe it like a cloud drifting by. You'll start to notice the mind never stops speaking, but you don't always have to answer. Manifestation fails not because we don't think enough positive thoughts, but because we mistake recycled thoughts for divine instruction. True manifestation doesn't come from thinking louder. It comes from thinking clearer. And clarity arises when you're no longer controlled by every echo from your past. Ask yourself, which of your current thoughts actually belong to you? Were they inherited from someone else's fears? Are they the voice of a teacher who doubted you? A parent who worried too much? Society telling you what success should look like? Buddhism teaches us to pierce through the illusion of the self. The you who's thinking may just be a shadow of who you were, not who you are, and certainly not who you're becoming. Once you realize thoughts are not laws, but suggestions, something powerful happens. You begin to choose your frequency. You start becoming the conscious creator, not the unconscious receiver. That's when the real magic of manifestation begins. You stop living from memory and start living from presence. Presence is the gateway. From there, thoughts become tools, not masters. You think with intention, not with fear. So the next time a thought tells you it's too late or you're not ready, ask yourself, is this an instruction or just an echo? Because the echo will keep you stuck in old loops. But presence, pure awareness, creates new paths. You don't need to silence your mind. You just need to stop mistaking every thought for truth. The ones that serve you will feel light, expansive, aligned. The rest are clouds. Let them pass. And remember this: your reality is not built by the loudest thought, but by the quietest one you choose to believe. 4. Desire is a flame. Awareness is the space around it. There's a quiet power in simply watching. No judgment, no resistance, just presence. When a desire arises, our instinct is to feed it, chase it, build our lives around it. But Buddhism invites us to do something far more radical, to simply observe. Because desire is a flame, but awareness is the space around it. The flame dances, tries to pull your attention, but it cannot survive without your fuel. Desire burns, but awareness doesn't burn. It holds. It sees everything, needs nothing, and remains untouched by craving's fire. That's the secret. You don't need to kill your desires. You just need to hold them in the sky of your awareness. A candle may flicker, but it can never scorch the stars. So ask yourself, what happens when you stop running after the craving and start sitting with it instead? The mind will panic, the body may feel restless, the flame will flare up, but if you breathe, if you stay with it, something incredible begins to happen. The flame fades, not because it was defeated, but because it was seen, purely, clearly, completely. And in that space of clarity, you remember something powerful. You are not the flame. You are the sky it dances in. There was once a monk who sat silently through a storm of temptations. People tried to lure him with food, gold, even promises of fame. He didn't resist. He didn't fight. He simply watched his desire rise and fall like a tide. Later, when asked how he remained so calm, he said, "I never denied the flame. I just remembered that I was not it." That's awareness, not suppression, not repression, just space. Spaciousness so vast that even the loudest craving becomes a whisper. Now think of your own craving. Maybe it's the urge to succeed, to be validated, to escape loneliness. What would happen if, instead of acting on it, you observed it? Sit with that desire. Let it speak. Let it ache. But don't follow it. Don't fight it. Just breathe. In that stillness, you'll start to see the desire is not you. It's a visitor, and every visitor eventually leaves when not entertained. This is why manifestation remains elusive for so many. People try to manifest from the heat of desire, but fire consumes energy. It doesn't channel it. Real creation comes from stillness, from the space behind desire, from awareness. That's where vision becomes pure. That's where the signal is clean. And the universe listens not to begging hearts, but to steady minds. So ask yourself, what craving are you ready to watch fade? Maybe it's the hunger for recognition, the fear of missing out, the panic to always be more. Let it burn. But you stay still. Because in that stillness, you access a deeper power. Not the power to get what you want, but to remember what you already are. And here's the truth that almost no one understands. Desire screams. Awareness whispers, but only one of them is real. The rest will burn itself out. 5. Suffering begins where acceptance ends. You've been taught that manifestation starts with wanting more success, more clarity, more peace. But here's what no one tells you. Manifestation doesn't begin with desire. It begins with acceptance. Not acceptance as resignation, but as power. Suffering begins where acceptance ends. We suffer not because life is imperfect, but because we resist its imperfection. We try to manifest while rejecting what is. But how can the universe give you more if you haven't yet honored what you already have? Imagine a river encountering a boulder. It doesn't stop, it doesn't argue, it doesn't demand the rock to move. It curves around it, fluid, graceful, powerful. To resist now is to delay peace. Resistance keeps you stuck. Acceptance moves you forward, not because it fixes the situation, but because it frees your energy from fighting reality. Think about it. What part of your life are you still resisting? A career that hasn't taken off? A relationship that ended? A version of yourself that's no longer working? What would shift if you simply said, "This moment is enough. I am enough"? The Buddha didn't teach that life is without suffering. He taught that clinging, resistance, and aversion intensify suffering. And in that wisdom lies the paradox of manifestation. The more you reject your current reality, the more rooted in it you remain. Why? Because what you resist persists. When you say, "I hate this," your energy feeds it. When you say, "This too belongs," your energy is released. That's the beginning of true creation, not from pain, but from peace. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and silently repeat, "This moment is enough. I am enough." Notice what stirs inside you. Maybe discomfort, maybe grief. Let it rise. Don't run from it. Let it pass through you like the river passes the rock. This is the essence of manifestation. Before asking for more, become one with what already is. Because when you're in harmony with now, your signal to the universe is clear, strong, magnetic. Creation responds not to noise, but to coherence. There was a young man who came to a Zen master desperate to change his life. He said, "I've read all the books. I visualize every day, but nothing is happening." The master handed him a teacup, overfilled it, and let it spill. The young man shouted, "It's overflowing." The master nodded. "Exactly. Until you empty your cup, accept what is, you cannot receive what's next." That's you. That's all of us. Manifestation is simple. It's our resistance that complicates it. So ask yourself now, what part of your life have you not yet accepted? Is it a failure? A fear? A version of you that didn't succeed? Look at it, bless it, and let it be. Because when you stop fighting, you start flowing. You begin manifesting not from lack, but from love. And that is the purest, most powerful energy there is. Remember this, the doorway to everything you want is hidden inside everything you're resisting. Open the door. Peace is already waiting. 6. Your identity creates your reality. You're not stuck because your dreams are impossible. You're stuck because you're still trying to manifest a new life through an old identity. And no matter how many affirmations you speak, if you keep waking up as the same version of yourself, you'll keep attracting the same outcomes. You don't manifest what you want. You manifest who you are. That's the trap most people fall into. They chase success while secretly identifying as someone who always falls short. They crave peace while clinging to the identity of a warrior always in conflict. So the reality mirrors the identity, again and again. Imagine planting an apple seed but expecting mangoes. That's what happens when you try to manifest from a self-image rooted in fear, lack, or unworthiness. A tree cannot bear fruit of another seed. Your beliefs, your self-image, your subconscious identity, that's the seed. And no technique, no ritual, no visualization can outgrow the seed you haven't changed. So let's go deeper. Who are you being right now? Not what you say in public, but what you whisper to yourself when no one's watching. Are you still being the version of you who's always behind, always waiting, always overwhelmed? In Buddhist teachings, the idea of no self isn't about losing your identity. It's about realizing that identity is fluid, not fixed. The self is not a statue, it's a stream. But we cling to old versions of ourselves because they feel familiar, even if they hurt, even if they limit us. But ask yourself, what identity are you unconsciously loyal to? The perfectionist, the failure, the overthinker? Who do you keep waking up as because it feels safe, even if it's not true? Here's a practice. Write down everything you believe about who you are. I'm not consistent. I'm always anxious. I never follow through. Write it all, then burn that paper. Watch it turn to ash. Because those are not truths, they're just patterns, and patterns can be broken. That act of release is symbolic, but powerful. You're not deleting your past, you're detaching from it. You're saying, I am not my history, I am my possibility. A woman once told her teacher, I want to manifest freedom, but I always sabotage it. The teacher asked, who do you become when you feel free? She paused and said, I don't know. I've never been her. He smiled, then become her now. Not later, not when it's safe. Now. And that's the lesson. You must become what you seek before it appears. Because reality doesn't bend to your wish, it bends to your identity. So the next time you say, I want this, stop and ask, who must I become to receive this? Not a future version of you, not a someday hero, but the real you that's always been waiting beneath the mask. Peel it off, step out, live aligned. Because manifestation is not about control, it's about embodiment. Here's the bold truth. If your life looks familiar, it's because your identity hasn't changed. Change that, and your world will never look the same again. 7. The quieter you become, the louder life speaks. You've been searching, planning, pushing, yet the answers keep slipping through your fingers. Every book you read, every podcast, every strategy, it all feels like more noise in your already crowded mind. But here's a truth you've probably felt deep down. The most powerful breakthroughs don't come when you're chasing. They come when you're still. The quieter you become, the louder life speaks. Not louder in volume, but louder in clarity. The wisdom you're seeking isn't out there. It's already within you. You've just been shouting too loud to hear it. Think of a still pond. When it's disturbed, rippled, churned, restless, it reflects nothing. But when it settles, even the clouds above bow to its calm. Your mind is that pond, and every anxious thought, every frantic search, every mental checklist stirs it into chaos. That's why manifestation feels distant. Not because it's far, but because your inner space is too loud to receive what's already knocking. Silence reveals what noise hides. You're not missing guidance, you're missing quiet. Buddhism teaches that insight is not acquired. It is revealed through silence, through presence, through non-doing. But silence isn't passive, it's powerful. It's not emptiness, it's space. Space for truth to arise, space for intuition to be heard, space for life to whisper back. And here's the paradox. The more urgently you seek, the more your answers hide. But when you stop seeking, they start emerging. Why do your answers come only when you're not looking? Because when the mind lets go, the soul steps forward. Try this. Sit for just 3 minutes today. No goal, no visualization, just silence. Don't reach, don't resist. Let thoughts come, let them go. Observe like the sky watches clouds, without judgment. And in that stillness, something magical happens. Not always words, sometimes just a feeling, a knowing, a direction that doesn't come from thinking, but from being. That's the voice behind the voice, the one that's been guiding you all along. There was once a monk who asked his teacher, "Why don't I ever hear divine guidance?" The teacher simply brought him to a river. They stood in silence for hours. Finally, the monk grew impatient and said, "What am I supposed to hear?" The teacher replied, "Exactly. You're still listening with your impatience." That story isn't about rivers, it's about you. Your desire to figure things out is louder than your ability to feel what's true. And until that softens, manifestation will feel like a puzzle instead of a path. So ask yourself today, what wisdom might already be within you, if only you listened deeper? What part of your life is begging for silence, not another strategy? Because manifestation is not about forcing the world to comply. It's about aligning so deeply with truth that the world reflects it back without resistance. The noise wants you to believe you're behind. The silence knows you're already whole. The greatest clarity doesn't shout. It waits in stillness. And if you want to hear what life's been trying to tell you all along, slow down, sit still, and listen. That's not a delay. That's the beginning. 8. Expect nothing. Appreciate everything. You wake up and the first thing you feel is the weight of what didn't happen yet, of what should be different, a promotion, a reply, a change. Your mind begins demanding more clarity, more success, more proof that you're getting somewhere. But here's a question that will shift everything. What if you stopped expecting and started appreciating? Expectation creates resistance. Appreciation creates expansion. The more you expect, the tighter your grip. But manifestation doesn't respond to tight fists. It responds to open hearts. Buddhism teaches that suffering isn't caused by reality. It's caused by attachment to how reality should be. Expectation is that subtle craving that whispers, if only they understood you. If only your plan worked faster. If only life showed up differently. But that craving, however quiet, is a wall. And manifestation cannot enter where tension lives. Like a flower in the sun, life blooms not under pressure, but in presence. Not when you beg for more, but when you honor what already is. That's the power of appreciation. It turns this moment into a magnet. Ask yourself right now, what am I expecting that I could instead appreciate? Are you waiting for someone to change, or for your future to validate your worth? Because every time you delay your peace for a future outcome, you've postponed your power. The truth is, you cannot force alignment, you can only allow it. And the doorway is always gratitude. Gratitude is the highest vibration of manifestation, not because it changes what you have, but because it changes who you are while receiving it. Try this today. List 3 things you've taken for granted, not just surface-level things, but the quiet miracles, the way your breath continues without your permission, the way the sun rose this morning without your asking. And now, feel each one. Really feel it. Let it land in your body. That warmth. That's alignment. That's what the universe hears. Not your words, not your wishes, but your frequency. And nothing raises it like appreciation. There's a Zen story of a monk who walked miles each day simply to drink water from a specific mountain spring. When asked why, he said, "Because after that journey, the water tastes like a gift." What if that's how we're meant to live? Not constantly receiving more, but constantly feeling more of what's already here. So here's your reflection. Are your expectations blocking your blessings? Could it be that the very things you've been praying for are already around you, unrecognized, unnoticed, unreceived? The irony is, when you stop expecting, you start seeing. And what you can truly see, you can finally align with. Manifestation is not about controlling outcomes. It's about tuning into the energy that attracts outcomes. Expectation tightens the flow. Appreciation releases it. If you want life to surprise you, start being amazed by the ordinary. That's when the extraordinary begins. Because the most powerful signal you can send to the universe isn't, "Give me more." It's, "Thank you, I already have enough." That's when life echoes back, "Here's more." 9. Drop the how, embrace the now. You keep asking, how? How do I make it happen? How do I get there faster? How do I become what I'm meant to be? And that single word, how, becomes the very thing that holds you back. It's a loop, a mental maze, a trap disguised as logic. Buddhism gently reminds us, you cannot know the path until your feet begin to move. But we wait for clarity, for certainty, for the entire map. And while we wait, this moment, quietly slips away. Manifestation doesn't happen in the mind. It happens in movement, in presence, in the next simple step. We've been taught to obsess over blueprints, to chart 5-year plans, to predict outcomes before we begin. But the truth? A lantern doesn't light the entire road. It only illuminates your next step. And that's all you ever need. The reason most people never manifest what they want isn't because they're doing too little. It's because they're stuck doing too much in their head, planning, worrying, strategizing. When in reality, the universe responds to energy, not anxiety. Clarity doesn't come before action. It's born through it. You don't discover the road by staring at the sky. You find it with your feet, Think about it. How often have you been paralyzed by planning? You wanted the perfect timing, the right alignment, the clearest sign, but that craving for certainty is just fear wearing a scholar's robe. It's perfectionism pretending to be wisdom. Meanwhile, life is whispering, just take the step. Maybe it's a conversation you've been avoiding, a habit you need to drop, a message you feel called to send. It's never the whole answer, just the next one. And that's all manifestation needs, your willingness to move from thought into now. Here's your practice. Ask yourself, what is the next simple step I can take? Not the best step, not the final step, just the next one. Then take it. Without overthinking, without demanding results, because the energy of movement is magnetic. It tells the universe, I'm ready, not just in theory, but in embodiment. And from that signal, momentum builds, paths unfold, doors you didn't even know existed begin to open, not because you planned them, but because you dared to move. There's a story of a Zen monk who crossed a dense, foggy forest every morning. When asked how he never got lost, he said, I never look for the end. I just place my foot where the ground appears. That is the way. Not knowing, but trusting. Not forecasting, but feeling. And letting life guide the rest. So reflect, where in your life are you stuck in the how? What could shift if you embraced the now? What small action are you postponing because you're waiting for the whole plan to appear? Let it go. Because manifestation is simple. It's not about mastering the entire path. It's about honoring the present enough to take the next step, and then the next, until one day you look back and realize you walked yourself into everything you once thought was impossible. 10. Manifestation begins when seeking ends. You spend so much time searching for success, for clarity, for that breakthrough that feels just out of reach. But what if the very act of seeking is what's blocking you? Buddhism teaches that manifestation begins when seeking ends. The endless chase keeps you spinning, like a wave rushing toward the shore, forgetting it was always part of the ocean. You're already whole, already complete, but your mind is tangled in the illusion of lack. The story that you need something outside yourself to finally arrive. This constant yearning creates a distance between you and what you want, because true manifestation flows from a place of being, not becoming. Imagine standing on a quiet beach. The waves roll in, but they don't struggle to reach the shore. They simply are the shore. You are not separate from what you desire. You are the source. The moment you stop running after manifestation, you begin to embody it. This is the paradox. By releasing the frantic need to control the outcome, you open the space for life to flow effortlessly toward you. When you stop trying so hard, the universe responds with greater ease. Practice this now. Close your eyes and picture yourself whole, exactly as you are, without needing to add anything, without fixing, improving, or changing. Feel the completeness in your being. This is not about resignation. It's about recognizing your true nature beyond desire and striving. When you hold this awareness, manifestation shifts from a desperate grab to a natural unfolding. Reflect on your own journey. What are you seeking that you already embody? Is it confidence, peace, success, love? These qualities are not distant goals. They are already woven into your existence, waiting to be recognized, not earned. The gap you perceive is a story your mind is telling, a story rooted in fear and scarcity. When you let go of the need to constantly seek, that story loses its power. Many get caught in the cycle of seeking because it feels productive, like action equals progress. But endless seeking often leads to exhaustion, overwhelm, and frustration. It's like trying to fill a cup that is already full, but ignoring the water inside. Instead, turn inward and reconnect with the fullness you already carry. Manifestation is not about chasing more, it's about revealing what's been there all along. Consider the ambitious person overwhelmed by societal pressure to do more and be more. They hustle, plan, push, and strive, yet feel stuck. What if the breakthrough comes not from adding more effort, but from ceasing the endless chase and simply being? When you align with this principle, manifestation flows not as a struggle, but as a graceful dance. You don't have to wait for the perfect moment or the right conditions. Manifestation is already happening the moment you stop seeking and start trusting. Trust that what you want is already woven into the fabric of your being. Release the frantic need to chase and watch how life begins to respond in kind. What are you seeking today that you can recognize you already are? The moment you embrace this, manifestation stops being a mystery and becomes a simple, natural expression of your true self. 11. Nothing changes until you let go. You clutch your goals tightly, as if gripping them harder will pull them closer. But what if that very grip is the barrier between you and what you want most? Buddhism teaches us a profound truth. Nothing changes until you let go. Holding on too tightly doesn't protect you. It traps you. Like a bird trying to soar while clutching a heavy branch, you cannot rise until you release the weight dragging you down. Letting go is not loss. It is alignment with the flow of life. Imagine the last time you carried a heavy bag for hours, the fatigue in your shoulders, the way it pulled you down. Now picture setting it down. Suddenly, your steps become lighter, freer. That lightness isn't from gaining anything new. It's from releasing what no longer serves you. What if your desires, your fears, your old identities are like that weight, dragging you backward even as you push forward? Manifestation doesn't demand more struggle. It asks you to drop the burden you carry. Think about the moments when you have clung to outcomes, plans, or emotions so tightly that they consumed your peace. How often have you felt stuck because you refused to surrender control? Holding on tightly to how things should be blocks the natural unfolding of what can be. Life doesn't flow through resistance. It moves in the space you create when you release the grip. Practice this now. Close your eyes and imagine dropping a heavy bag from your shoulder. Feel the sudden freedom in your body, the room to breathe, to move, to grow. What burdens are you carrying that you don't need? What beliefs, grudges, or shoulds weigh you down? The first step to manifesting the life you desire is shedding what holds you back, even if it feels uncomfortable or unfamiliar. Reflect honestly. What are you still carrying that you could lay down today? Is it the need to prove yourself? The fear of failure? The story of who you think you must be? When you let go of these, you create space for new possibilities. Like a bird dropping the branch, you free your wings to soar higher than before. For those caught in career struggles, identity shifts, or emotional transitions, this principle is revolutionary. It suggests that progress isn't about doing more, pushing harder, or fixing what's broken. It's about releasing what's heavy and unnecessary. This is the simplicity that most overlook because it requires courage and trust. In a world obsessed with control and hustle, the wisdom to let go feels counterintuitive. But true mastery begins when you surrender, not out of defeat, but from understanding that life's power flows through acceptance and release. Manifestation happens not by grasping, but by opening, by creating room in your heart and mind for what wants to come. Imagine your life lighter, your mind clearer, your energy freer. This is the gift of letting go. The moment you release the weight you carry, you align with the effortless flow of manifestation. So ask yourself today, what are you still holding on to, and what could happen if you simply let it go? Bonus principle: let life surprise you. You plan every step, map out every detail, trying to control the outcome. But life, in its mysterious wisdom, speaks a language beyond control, the language of surprise. Buddhism reminds us that control limits, while surrender expands. Imagine your life as a locked box, tightly sealed, unable to receive the gifts the universe offers. When you hold on too tightly, when every moment is pre-scripted in your mind, you close yourself off from the unexpected blessings waiting to unfold. Think about the last time something surprised you. A chance encounter, a sudden opportunity, a shift you never saw coming. How did it change the course of your day, your mindset, your path? Often, what we resist is exactly what could free us. The greatest manifestations happen not by forcing, but by opening to the unknown, by letting life surprise us. This is not about reckless abandon, but about deep trust. Trust that the universe is unfolding in your favor, even when you can't see it. Practice this now. Take a deep breath and say quietly, "I trust the unknown." Let it unfold. Feel the tension ease in your body. What happens when you stop predicting every moment and start receiving? The pressure to control dissolves, making space for new energy, fresh ideas, and unforeseen joys. When you release the need to micromanage, you invite the magic of possibility. Reflect on your current struggles. Maybe you're stuck in a career crossroads, desperate for certainty, or wrestling with identity shifts that feel disorienting. You may be exhausted from trying to master every detail of your life. What if the key to moving forward isn't to push harder, but to loosen your grip and trust more? When you let go of control, you align with a deeper flow, a flow that is intelligent, creative, and always surprising. The universe loves to surprise us because surprise breaks the patterns of our conditioned minds. It invites spontaneity, new perspectives, and growth beyond what we imagine possible. Like a flower that blooms naturally under the sun's gentle rays, your life blossoms when you stop forcing and start receiving. This principle honors the Zen idea that surrender is not weakness but strength, a courageous openness to what is. Imagine waking each day with curiosity instead of anxiety, with a heart open to receive instead of a mind locked on outcome. How would that shift your energy? How would it change the way you manifest your dreams? When you let life surprise you, manifestation becomes less about striving and more about flow, less about resistance and more about resonance. So today, ask yourself, what parts of your life are you still trying to control? What would happen if you unlocked that box, stepped into trust, and allowed life to surprise you? The answer could transform your entire journey. Manifestation is simple, but it requires one thing above all: the willingness to surrender, to open, and to receive the unexpected gifts that the universe is ready to offer you right now. Quick summary of the principles. Stop demanding. Start allowing. True manifestation doesn't come from force or control. It comes when you create space for life to unfold. The more you try to push, the more resistance you create. Allowing is not passivity, it's trusting the natural rhythm of life. Surrender opens doors, force can't. Want nothing, receive everything. When you detach from needing outcomes, you unlock peace and clarity. Clinging tightens your energy and repels what you're chasing. Letting go softens your field and makes you magnetic. You become a vessel, not a beggar. Thoughts are not instructions, they're echoes. Most of our thoughts aren't original, they're patterns from the past. If you mistake them for truths, you repeat old outcomes. Manifestation begins when you observe thoughts, not obey them. Let thoughts come, but don't let them lead. Desire is a flame. Awareness is the space around it. Desires are natural, but if unchecked, they consume clarity. Awareness is the ground from which real transformation grows. When you watch a desire without judgment, it loses its grip. Your power lies in observation, not obsession. Suffering begins where acceptance ends. Manifestation doesn't mean rejecting the now for a better future. It begins by fully accepting your current state. Resistance delays peace and blocks change. Accept where you are, and the way forward reveals itself. Your identity creates your reality. You don't manifest what you want, you manifest from who you believe you are. If your identity is rooted in lack, no external abundance will feel enough. Shift your self-concept, and your world realigns. The quieter you become, the louder life speaks. Noise and busyness drown inner wisdom. Silence is the space where truth reveals itself. The answers you seek often arrive when you stop searching and start listening. Stillness amplifies clarity. Expect nothing. Appreciate everything. Expectations create tension and lead to disappointment. Gratitude opens you to receive more than you imagined. The more you appreciate, the more aligned you become with peace and flow. Appreciation is attraction. Drop the how. Embrace the now. The need to figure everything out stalls progress. Life unfolds in steps, not in master plans. Focus on presence and the path will appear. One moment of full awareness is more powerful than 1,000 plans. Manifestation begins when seeking ends. Chronic seeking is a symptom of disconnection. The more you search, the more you forget you're already complete. True attraction starts when you stop looking outside and come home within. You are not lacking, you are layered. Nothing changes until you let go. Holding on to past pain, control, or expectations blocks your evolution. Change begins with release. Letting go isn't weakness, it's clarity and courage. When you let go, you invite what's meant for you. Let life surprise you. Trying to control every detail limits your life to what your mind already knows. When you surrender control, you become open to joy, growth, and outcomes beyond your imagination. Magic lives in the unknown. Simplicity is the door you keep walking past. We often miss the most profound truths because they seem too simple. But simplicity is the essence of wisdom. You don't need to complicate the path, just show up fully. Peace begins where effort ends. We spend our lives chasing, planning, and wishing, believing that more effort will bring the life we long for. But true manifestation is not about pushing, it's about aligning. It's not about fixing what's wrong, but realizing what's already whole inside us. Buddhism teaches that when we stop fighting reality, reality starts working in our favor. The deeper truth is simple. You don't have to get manifestation. You only have to get out of its way. You are not separate from the flow of life. You are part of it. The more you cling, the more you suffer. But the moment you let go, you begin to attract, not what you want, but what you are ready for. These teachings are not just spiritual concepts, they are practical keys to living freely. The moment you drop your endless questions, your overthinking, your grasping, clarity comes like sunlight breaking through clouds. In that moment, you no longer chase peace, you become it. So, take a breath. Come back to now. You don't need to know the whole path, only the next step. Stop controlling, start trusting, and watch what unfolds when you finally stop interfering with what's already trying to find you. When you realize nothing is lacking, the whole world belongs to you. Let this be your reminder. Simplicity is not the absence of depth, it is its highest form. You've been told you must do more, want more, hustle more. But true manifestation, the kind that feels peaceful and powerful, is born from less. Less needing, less effort, more trust, more presence. Return to simplicity. Practice presence. Allow life to come to you. What would change in your life if you stopped chasing and started trusting? Don't forget to like and share this video. Drop your thoughts and reflections in the comment box, and subscribe to Deep Wisdom for more inspiring Buddhist insights on living a peaceful life.